Good morning and welcome to the Yankee Model Investment Club. We're a model investment club. We use real money and we're open to observation to the public. Formed in 2008. We currently have 7 members in 6 states. Am I correct in that? I think so. We went online in 2011 and meet monthly on the second Saturday of every month. New members are welcome. We don't require investment experience. New members will be mentored by an existing member. There are only limits in where you can live or your state's tax laws. They require the club to file a return in that state, even though a resident, even though the club resides now in Texas. We won't accept members from those states that require us to file a tax form in that state. So all partners must be members of Better Investing. They're expected to actively participate in the club's activities, make stock presentations using the stock selection guide and in rotation with other members. We follow the BI principles. We show respect to our fellow club members. We're all still learning. We perform an annual audit more or less on time. We file tax returns promptly and deliver K1s in a timely fashion. And we follow our partnership agreement and bylaws. Any questions or interest in joining, please contact Jessica at this address. The structure of the meeting, you'll see a control panel up on the upper right of your screen. There's some important things here at the bottom of that panel. The model club, I'm sorry, the agenda is on the handouts section. There's a few other things, presentation notes and so on for today. You can download those, and they're mostly PDF, sometimes other things, other formats. You can also ask a question to the moderator, Joe, in the back room. If you have either a technical question about how something works or a question about what we're saying, you can send it to him and he'll pass along to us. And then there's time at the end for viewer questions. Did somebody forward you a meeting invite? We need to get in order to get your email address, we need you to get your own invite. You can go to the Better Investing website, the chapters online, local events page should look like this, and you can register yourself for the next meeting there. Okay. The disclaimer, information presented in this meeting is for demonstration and educational purposes only. Securities of companies referenced or featured in the meeting, again, are for illustrative purposes and are not to be considered an endorsement or recommendation for purchase or sale by either Better Investing, National Association of Investors, or us, the club. The views are made by the club partners regarding the purchase and sale of stocks and other assets, and not necessarily reflect the views of Better Investing. Securities may be held by partners and presenters in their own personal portfolios or in their clients. Better Investing presenters and volunteers are held to a strict code of conduct that includes benefiting financially from educational presentations or public activities. This meeting may contain images of websites and products not endorsed by Better Investing. The presenter is not endorsing or promoting the use of the websites, products, or service. And we are recording this presentation. That's it. So let's go to who's first. Let me find the agenda. Sorry. Let's go to Steve, who will be discussing picking stocks with AI. Steve, take it away.
Good morning, Jack. If you want to make me presenter, and I'll, pardon me, I'll share my screen.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. I'm going to show my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll go to my little handout here and my mini agenda. So it's basically using AI to find and analyze stocks. One thing that we're starting to use AI at work now, and especially my boss. So I said, well, why can't it fill in a spreadsheet for us? And so I'm going to fill in, pardon me, I'm going to fill in the Palomar spreadsheet for today, and I'll show that. And then also, what I found is I've made a list of questions that I ask AI. I think that you'll find it valuable. Okay, so as with anything, your mileage is going to vary, and you can kind of read the handout. So I'm going to skip it because you're going to want to see what the meat of it is. What does the AI really do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take. I just wanted to show I've been using Copilot, and so your mileage is going to vary. And what I mean by that is this. This is like the home version of Copilot, but at work I have the enterprise version of Copilot. And when I do it at work, it actually populates the spreadsheet proper. Here, it's just going to give you some output. Let me close the door. Sorry about that. And why I wanted to point this screen out is we want to do the deeper think here. And how I do it is I'm going to upload the spreadsheet here. And what I've done is I've taken, I should probably show you the spreadsheet ahead of time here. But this is the spreadsheet that I'm going to upload. And let's just show you, just so that you can see that, let's see here. I want to open Excel. Here we go. Okay, so just so you see for sure that there's nothing in the column, that it's blank. And I kind of left this stuff at the bottom here. But what I don't feel like doing the drudgery of going and pulling all this info in, right? So let's do a little magic here. So I've pulled in the spreadsheet into Copilot. And then I have this sentence that I've written up here. Is it in this one? No, it's in the one. This magical little sentence, which is so simple, yet so powerful. And I'm going to paste it right here. And the sentence says, please fill in the values for the questions in column B by answering the questions and placing the values in column C. Now, again, your mileage may vary. If I was on the enterprise version of Copilot, it would just actually literally put it into the spreadsheet and spit the spreadsheet back out. But you'll see here that it'll print it to the screen, which is fine. This is my, even though I'm paying for a Microsoft 365 subscription, I'm nowhere near the enterprise level or Like if you look at Gemini, which is an AI, or Claude, there are paid versions, which I'm sure will do this as well. So it's taking Copilot here probably about half a minute to think about what it's going to do to populate. And what we're going to see here is not everything's right. So this is a kind of a starting point. It's not the be all end all. It's not absolute, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So now we've got the output, and lo and behold, ticker symbol is PLMR. It's traded on NASDAQ. It's less than $1 billion company. It's a fintech payment processing. Well, that's not really true, is it? It's an insurance company. Its locations, well, it's really in California. It's beta 1.3. Debt is minimal. That's true. Ownership, I'm not sure. I didn't research these as is it a growth? Yeah, it's going pretty well. And oh, look, you get these juicy recommendations here. That's very interesting. Roughly 10% of annual growth. And so I thought these were very interesting. That it's actually populating this, which I thought was very, very strong. And you can see that normally when I go to present and fill this thing out, this takes me a while probably over an hour to fill out. And here, this took literally 30 seconds. And now I just have to double check it instead of actually filling out the info. So I thought that was phenomenal. The other thing that I've been doing that I wanted to show that I think there's value in is not this sheet, is this sheet. So what my boss does is, what do I do at work all day long? I write bugs, right? So he's actually taken the bugs, and when we have a release, he's made AI groom them all and have the AI search all the bugs and get what the English, what it's doing, the synopsis of the issues, and putting it out. So I said, wow, we certainly can do this with stocks. And so this is kind of how I approached it here. So you have to tell the AI what to do in very graphic detail. And so here's how I do it. So you are an expert stock selector specializing in not losing clients' money. Your task is to generate clear, consistent, and informative stock picks that seek maximal growth while minimizing any downside. Your responsibilities include, and then I was building this up, and then as the crisis hit, then you'll see my crisis questions at the end. But one, picking the top 10 stocks growing the fastest, regardless of risk. Picking the top 10 fortress balance sheet stocks, which are profitable. Picking the top 10 widow and orphan stocks, which are profitable. Picking the stocks which are both in the fortress balance sheet and widow and orphans list. Picking the top 10 dividend stocks, regardless of ethics. Picking the top 10 recession-proof stocks that are profitable. Picking the top 10 annualized yields, the highest annualized yield stocks, regardless of risk or ethics. And by the way, add the ticker symbol of Altria because it wasn't putting it in, which I knew had the highest yield. Picking the top 10 stocks that have more cash than debt and list by market capitalization and having the highest Altman Z rating. Picking the top 10 that are small cap that have more cash than debt and list by market capitalization and have the highest Altman Z rating. So you get the idea here. I can go on about you get your theme and you pop your question in and you keep it in here. So what I noticed today was, I guess my question list is getting kind of long, and Copilot died on it. So I'll just take the list here and I'll stick it into Claude, because Claude actually did it today. So Copilot worked, but with just one question. So you'd have to do it like one question at a time, which it's not fun to show off like that. So we'll do Claude, and we'll pop it into Claude here. And I don't know how to see. I'm on the free plan, but if you want Claude, the more powerful version of Claude, you can pay, but no thanks. So here's my questions, right? Yeah, there's my question, and now let's see what Claude spits out. So I love it how it types it. It's like it's thinking. Of course, it knows the answer already to all this stuff, and voila, out comes your magical answers. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Wow.
I can't love it enough. So I think it's I wanted to show this. I think it's very, very, very good. And uh, what else did I want to? Okay, I wanted to compare and contrast this. So this is the exact same question now, and this is using Claude.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the fastest growth stocks regardless of risk? And this is Claude's answer. And now we're going to go to Copilot's initial answer on this today. And Copilot's answer I thought was better than Claude today. So here, this is the top 10 fastest growing stocks. And so here they are. Red Cat, Upstart. This list made sense to me today. And to be honest, Copilot in the past had a very, very similar listing compared to Claude. But so the issue is, or the point I'm trying to get across is, use different AI systems but have the same questions, and then you'll see the change. So that's kind of that's what I wanted to show. I mean, you kind of get it from those two things: the auto population of the spreadsheet, and then the having a list of solid questions that you have in your back pocket to ask AI, and you ask multiple AI versions. Like disappointingly, I asked Gemini this morning these questions, and it wouldn't give me the answer. So the answer is, it really depends. So that's kind of where it is. Okay. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Excellent. I still have not done any of this, but I certainly will explore this. I did a basic review of this, but I could have saved some time, sir, if I had known.
if I had only showed you this ahead of time. I'll tell you one thing. I am really looking forward to it when I have to do mine, to just empty out the column and pop the question in and have it run it, because that takes me over an hour to do that.
Yeah, but exactly. If you look at, can you show the spreadsheet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, on the
now. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, on the spreadsheet, for example, it said $19.99 is the current price.
Okay.
That is not true.
Oh, right. No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So like
you're going to get errors.
Yeah, we have to go back and check on some of these things.
That's right. It's not. And here's like some that are going to be wrong, that I'll show you that are wrong. That's important. Because I'm very picky about stocks having more cash than debt. To me, that's very, very important, a personal thing. And so when I ask that question and I get Microsoft in the answer, oops, not anymore, you're not. Right? So if we go to Yahoo Finance, then they have more debt than cash on hand now. So that's not right. So not all of these answers are correct. You really have to double check what it is. It's a phenomenal place to start, and you have to really be careful that that it's not always right. And I mean, we can go to finance.yahoo, but I know that Microsoft has more debt than they
Steve,
do cash on hand.
even this is Randall. I actually work in IT, and I just wanted to say this was very well done. This could have been very long. This was very pointed, targeted, very much how to on how to do it. I think the reminder for all of this is that, like you said, it's a starting point. But as with all of these things, it's nuance. It's not just information, it's what to do with it. And I think this both helps in terms of efficiency, but also why this can't replace, our own intuition and looking at things and comparing things. Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
Right, absolutely.
Steve, this is John. I just have a quick question. I love the presentation, and I'm having difficulty trying to understand which system is the best, or which a company gives you the best information. How do you compare that? How do you compare this with Chat GPT?
To be honest, I hadn't even tried. So let's give it a whirl. Let's see what Chat GPT does.
Great.
So we're off script now, right? I don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
So we'll pop the questions in right now, and let's see if we can upgrade or log in. Yes, I have a login, I believe. Let's see.
I think also too, it's just, there's nuance to this. So again, we're using free versions. Are you going to use free versions? Are you using enterprise versions? It's all of these things are kind of growing and stuff. It's nuance. You still have to make sure that the stuff that it's spitting out is to your liking and is satisfactory.
And that it's true, that it makes sense. So let's see what Chat GPT does right here. Let's see if it answers it, or is it says, oh, I can't. Let's see what it does. Oh, it's actually answering. Amazing. So this is similar to Claude's.
I have found Chat GPT to be the best for other business questions that I have to research. So I'm trying to prove that there might be better alternatives.
Yeah, I think the answer is that you have to use all of them. I mean, I hate to say that, but you really have to try Chat GPT and Gemini and Claude and Copilot to really to really see. And so here, this is interesting. So I put in, how many questions did I put in? I put in 15 questions, and then it puttered out at five, and then it stopped. It stopped. Oh, you've gotten your allotment, and so it's different for each one. Your mileage is going to vary, and so in this one, it put them, and you can see it put the most work into the first question, where it's giving you the where it got that info from.
What if you asked?
What was the question? Yeah, picking the top 10 stocks growing the fastest regardless of risk. So I really wanted the ones that are growing the absolute fastest, and this is the list that's giving here, and it's backing it up with where it got it from.
Well, it seems like Copilot might be a little bit better. In this circumstance.
I don't think you can weigh it like that. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think you have to. You really have to run the questions against all of them.
Sure.
You can't.
I mean, that's one of the difficulties I'm having in my job. Some people are trying to tout certain AIs as kind of the end all be all, and it's just they're different. And there's pros and cons to whichever, and you make determinations on which you use. And I think it just depends on which one makes the most sense. But the fact that there's going to be one that's the jack of all trades, no, there's still nuance.
Right. That's certainly what the corporations are racing for, right? They're racing to be the Amazon of AI,
Yep,
right?
yep.
The one place where you just get everything from. Walmart, Amazon, Microsoft, the monopolies. That's what they're racing for. But they're not. You can tell by the answers that they're not there. They're not. It's hard to make that determination. And here, to me, this was the best answer so far today. And it tells you, hey, this company is growing by 122% a year. Oh, this one's growing by 100% a year. This one's growing by 80%, and it lists them by speed of growth. So you really have to sprinkle it around and see. And what was funny was when I dumped this into Copilot today, it petered out. It didn't do anything because it was overloaded. It didn't want to answer this many questions. But then I cut it to one question, and then it answered that one question the best. So it was very interesting. That
Stephen,
was a new behavior for me.
If there's a time of day where it would be better to run these, like would it be better to run these like in the middle of the night?
I can just tell you that even though I have a Microsoft 365 and I've clicked the Think Deeper here, that my enterprise version at work is much more powerful than what you're seeing here.
Sure.
So my work version is, it automatically populates, it fills in the spreadsheet directly. Whereas the free or the home version, if you will, just dumps it to the screen. Now you just copy and paste it and put it in the spreadsheet. But it still, there's that extra step of work that it will do when I'm using the corporate version of it. So
no, but again,
that's kind of what I know.
This was phenomenal. This was very well done. Thank you for this. This is really well done.
Anytime.
Thanks, Steve. Jessica, I think you're next. Let's see if I can get this.
Yes.
You should have the little thing saying you can take over the thing. Did it show up?
Can you
There
see
it
it?
is. Yep.
Okay.
Make it a little bigger for me.
So these,
Down at the bottom right of your screen.
Bottom right, where it says 100%. There you
There
go.
you go.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Steve, Jack called the meeting to order at 11. We postponed the educational segment. I presented the minutes from last meeting and Sriram presented the treasurer's report. This was the valuation from last month. I'll be interested to see how it looks this month. This was our diversification size. I think we're doing a good job with making some headway with the small cap companies, or at least we have more of them. John presented IESC. We reviewed the stock portfolios. We decided to buy IESC with available, that should be funds. For new business, Sriram is going to send out the updated partnership agreement to everyone. K1s were available on Viveo. Randall's been added into Viveo and hopefully he's been able to transfer funds to Fidelity. John was accepted into the club and I believe we're planning for Mo to present in May. These were a couple of the questions from visitors. And we closed the meeting at 1:05. Any questions for me? Fantastic.
Very good.
Good and succinct. Very good.
Shiram,
Yes, sir. Let me see if I
send
can
me
share.
the
Yep.
control.
Give me 1 second. Can you see my screen yet?
There it is.
Does it show the model? Yes.
Transaction.
Yeah, BVO screen.
Yep. Video
Yeah.
systems here.
We have all our 7 members paid in the last month. That's wonderful.
Okay.
And let me see if I can go back to here, our valuations. As you can see, luckily enough, we have only a couple of them in the negative, which are probably dragging more than the others. But overall, we have, in a good place. The performance, this is where you see 3 of them, Qualys, ACMR, and PFE. The Pfizer are in negative, but everything else is in positive. Some of them are better than others.
Yep.
This I don't want to share, but I have to. Yes, again, I will. Yeah, this is the, actually it's not a bad thing to show. This is the share of each of us.
Mhm.
1 unit price is down to 57, and each of us have this number of units that are shown in this column. And then this is what, brace yourself. John and Randall are too early to this. Actually, I'm not too bad. I'm on the positive side. Just
Yay.
but overall, I think 9.9 is our average, which is not too bad. I like some of this new graph options they added. Again, play with it and see where we are. Brent and Steven have the bulk. Then, like I said, I just showed the transaction history. This includes all the year-to-date information. Again, these are pretty up-to-date. Performance benchmark. Let's look at the balance sheet. Again, this is limited information, but again, as you can see, they've added this graphics to, I don't know to what extent that'll help us, but it gives us, yes, we have only a little bit in there. So and you don't have much of a 2025 gains and losses. Yeah, again, some of these things probably in the earlier part of the year doesn't make much sense, but as somebody pointed out, we do get some good dividends from some of these companies. So anything particular you want to say? I hope everybody got to download their tax statements, K1 forms, and good with everything. Any questions? Any comments on this? Okay. If not, I think I'm going next also.
Yep.
Right. So let me start with the right screen. Not this one, of course.
Hey, Shriram, this is Randall. I just wanted to add something real quick.
Yeah, please.
I tried to, being the guinea pig, to put updated instructions for how to, have stuff over from Fidelity. It's clunky, but it seems to work. And if anybody wants to do that, I didn't really know where to put it in Vivio. So Shrem, I know I sent it to you, but
Yeah,
pretty clear on how to get that done. If any of you want to stop using like
yeah.
Zelle or any of these other things to do it.
I think I will put it up there. But also, I want to bring it to your attention that John was able to do it like in a day. I don't know how he was able to do it. And I think within a day or two, he was able to deposit into the Fidelity account. Maybe because he already has some investment club accounts or whatever. But
I
anyway,
just got your Fidelity information and then put it through my Fidelity account.
yeah, it went very quickly through. Yeah, but I will use yours, Randall, and I will.
Okay, no problem. I just want to make sure no one else has to go through that pain because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I
Maybe I'll
understand.
just tell them. Maybe I'll just tell them I'm just John, and then they'll let me.
No, that's always a good thing to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is spend some time talking about this PLMR, Palomar Specialty Insurance Company. I don't know any of you are familiar. I used Brent's technique of going into better investing and searching for small business companies with some qualifications of what are the returns expected and what are the EPS and all that good stuff. So based on that, I found about 3 different companies. This one, Oddity, and I also found an oil company. But I came back to this, and I'm going to present only this one, even though I had a couple of others that I did work on. Palomar is a very specific insurance company. What they specialize is somewhat others don't touch, if it makes sense. They specialize in products serving earthquakes, marine and other property, casualty, fronting, and crop. Again, these are very, to me, these are very specific and unique attributes to this company. That's why even though they're based out of California, and they've been one of the top guys providing earthquake insurance, they seems to be making profit for the last 5 years or 6 years, I think. Again, it's
Shriram, do you know what fronting is? I couldn't figure that one out.
no causality.
I looked that up actually.
Yeah.
Fronting is when you have an entity that self-insures, but they need formal insurance. So they say, yeah, we're insuring them, but the people are really insuring themselves, and somehow it's legal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think UMass does that, which is sort of stupid, but they do it anyway.
No, but most big companies, especially I'm talking about on the environmental side, they do.
They self-insure.
Yes, because that'll help them win bigger contracts. So yeah, no, I think yeah. So thanks for clarifying that. But again, like I said, these are very specialized kind of insurance company. They're based in California. They have a small debt. I think Steven stole my thunder because he already showed some of these things in there. And I could not find an Altman Z for this.
I got an Altman Z of 1.75, but I don't have I think Guru Focus or something was the source of that.
Oh, Guru Focus did not give me one. Okay.
Yeah, 1.7. I got it from someplace. Sorry.
Yeah, 1.8.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I think that's good. Good to capture. Yes, it is a growth company. It's continuously growing in the last 8 or 9 years. The EPS is a little bit. We'll come to the SSG in a second. You can understand the couple of choppy years they had, but pre-tax profit follows that EPS. I will go over with you in a second on the presentation of different analysts what they talked about. It has a narrow moat from Morningstar's evaluations. The fair value is 122. I think it closed at 148 last night. Yeah, Value Line projects about 23% sales growth, 5.43 EPS. Again, we'll look at those things. I think I'm going to stop it right here and go to my PowerPoint presentation. There you go. Let me see if I can make it in the presentation mode. Okay, can you see the presentation mode?
Yep.
Excellent. Again, PLMR is the ticker symbol. This from Market Watch, I thought this is a good, simple summary of this company in one page. It has 213 employees. They have a net income of about 80 million out of a revenue of about 380 million. What else? You can see the current numbers. Yeah, I mean, the front page looks pretty good on this. It's again some of the executives and what they've been doing. Yeah, again, there are no transactions in the last year or so, but before that, there were some mostly selling from these probably insiders. Again, I don't know how big it is, but it makes sense to know this. These guys, Guru Focus, they actually did an article on Polymer about a month or so ago, a little more than a month. And out of that, they said that it's a good company that has a solid potential to grow. It's from the earthquake insurance potential, it's a big company. Second, again, they use technology to build their risk estimates, and they play in such a way that they manage it well. I thought that's a pretty good way of doing that. And again, it is a competitive market. And remember, we used to own this Kinsale not too long ago. So this is a big picture summary of the company. I also looked at, I think this is Manifest again, because it doesn't have much of a history. Oh, yeah, it has low quality, low financial strength, and low stability.
Negative par, that didn't look good.
Yeah, they did give a par, but I thought par was different. Anyway, yeah, par negative. But I thought one of the things that puzzled me is fundamental data updated August 23, 2024. If anybody has Manifest, can anybody tell me, did they not update since this
I didn't notice that.
yeah, so I don't know. So take it with a pinch of salt. Value line, again, we have limited information. Again, this is, as you can see, it's a little different than what we normally see. They did not give any specific projections. But you can see overall they specifically identify that it is a specialty insurance company, and they work through the data analytics to build their portfolio. One of the things I borrowed this from what we did at a Bink a couple of years ago, last year and 3 years ago. The SWOT analysis, again, this is in the project management technologies. You normally do this. Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. Again, these companies' strengths are in the areas of, like I said, they're very specialty focused. They use some innovation in their product, and they use some innovative, creative underwriting. And then the opportunities, again, this is a good market. This is especially when a lot of people are leaving, these guys are filling that gap. So there's potential benefit from it. It also, because of that, it also a potential challenge, a potential risk. So that we need to follow this carefully. And then the weaknesses, again, they have limited narrow moat. They work in an area where regulatory environment is not consistent. They change across the country and across the world, and so they have to bear with this. And then this is the key to it. They use, like I said, technology to how they transfer the risk through the reinsurance coverage process. So again, some of those things I just want to bring it to your attention. This is their front page. And again, if you look at the last quarter and last year, they paint pretty decent picture of it. And this is again just an extract. I think I got it from NASDAQ. Their website, and you can see they keep on beating their predictions. This is what, yeah, Motley Fool. I looked at this and I thought this is a eye-catching. They recommend as a strong buy, but if you look at the value, growth, and momentum, they rate them low. But within their industry, they're in the top 40 out of the 250 or so. And then comparing to, I think the top one is, I'm sorry, that's Zacks at the top, and the Motley Fool is at the bottom. As you can see, they comparing to S&P, that they seems to be doing pretty well right from the beginning of their to last 5 years and last year. This is again screenshot from the MSN Money. I just wanted to just focus on this one again. Their prediction of their price in the next, I think, 90 days is anywhere between a little more than 80 to a little more than 200. Again, this is what they project right now. It's at 148. What else? Yes, I know. I don't know if I use this kind of spider diagrams in my work for looking at different chemical contamination, but you can see this also gives you valuation and health of the company rated low, but performance, growth, and earnings are rated high. Again, I think there's a lot of information. Again, earnings per share, P/E ratios, price to sales. Again, comparing that with their peers in the markets. Again, different ways to look at it. This is the SSG front page. if you look at, again, I'm a big fan of the graphical interpretation. I prefer that as a first step guideline. And then I tweak the numbers as we go. As you can see, the sales from inception in 2016 continuously increasing. I think that's definition of up straight and parallel. And then historic EPS, as you can see, they had a couple of choppy years, 17 and 20. Of course, probably 20 because of probably COVID, but and you can see the pre-tax profit. Of course, it mimics the earnings per share. So based on that, as you can see, the averages are 38 for sales and 46 for EPS and 53 for the profit. I mean, these are very good numbers. So based on that, I used, again, paying attention to tweaking the graphics. I mean, the graph trends. I used a sales growth of 18.5% and EPS growth of about 20%. Using that, if anybody wants, we can actually go to the SST and look at it, but I just wanted to summarize. Because of the variations in the company, I did not deselect any of these numbers. Again, I don't know if we can deselect the lower numbers or deselect the higher numbers. You know, 3 of them are lower, 2 of them are lower, 3 of them in the same range. So I just left them and used that information to move on to my next step. I had a high price of 390 and a low forecast price of 112. Using that, I came up with a buy range between 112 to 181 and sell at 320 to 390. Again, based on this projections, about 8 to 1 is the upside downside ratio and large appreciation potential. They do not give any dividend, so we don't have anything specific in this, but compounded annual return using high is 22 and using average is 18.5. This is where we are. Let me go back to excellent. Okay, can you see the back to the
Yep.
our template? So again, based on this, we covered all this information through this. So again, risk, as I said, the business they are in is risky business, number one. Number two is they do have some competitors, but they are gaining on them. Again, analytical tools, anybody can build one and use that. And to me, I think the most challenging thing is regulatory environment, how they can deal with it. So far, they seem to be doing well for about 8 years now. The rewards is we are catching them on the upswing. I think still they have a good potential to grow. I think if they continue the same momentum, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of, potential for them to address the disasters that are going to happen both on the East Coast and West Coast, and hopefully that gives us a potential to grow. Yeah, I think those are my recommendation. Having said all that, I think it's a good buy if you are willing to accept the risk they provide, especially a short term, 5-6 years, I think it'll be a good investment. Any questions, any comments, anything you want to see? If no questions, please go ahead and take it apart.
Um, I had a dip. I'm not sure why mine is so different from yours, but my SSG is very different. It's uh, I put in 30% as the historical growth rate
Mhm.
um, for sales and 20 something percent from the um, preferred procedure for earnings. Um, the my high PE was 22, and I'm trying to remember how I came to that. I got rid of the highest, so their PE has gone from over 500 in 2020 to 25 in 2024. So I got rid of 2020, 2021, and 2022. 2020 was when it had that dip, so that makes plenty of sense that that's a outlier. And I just thought the trend was continually down, so that it bounced back up from a high of 20 PE in 2023 to 25 in 2024. And the current PE is still in the range of 20 to 25 or something. What is it? It's current, no, it's actually gone up a little bit. It's up to 32. Anyway,
Yeah,
I think that's why mine was so low. What did you use for the PE?
yes, I can show you the
Yeah.
high PE. I use 35.
Okay. So that's closer to where it is now and where it was earlier.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then for the low PE, I use 25.
Yeah. And my low PE was, I can't find it at the moment.
How much did you use for low PE?
In the teens,
Okay,
15, I think.
15. Yeah. No, I
Because that
think
was, yeah, that's what, if just getting rid of those,
outliers. Yeah. And how much did you use for high PE?
22 was the high PE,
Okay. Yeah.
22.9.
Yeah. It will.
I think that's why mine was so different.
Sure. No, I think
I mean,
it
mine
makes.
ended up in the hold after doing all that.
Yeah.
It's,
I think it makes sense.
yeah. Okay.
Anyone else?
I'll go just real quick. I share Jack's concerns that I think visual analysis, it looked like a very good company apart from the blip, from COVID, I'm guessing from COVID in 2020,
Yeah.
but up straight and parallel for the last 4 years, which is great. Even looking at quarterly data, I don't go as deep as Steve does, but I didn't see any toe stubs or anything jump out at me. The problem I had was, you touched on it, the manifest investing, where it was a negative par and a quality of 40, just had me scratch my head a little bit there.
Yes.
But also I judged out the super high PE in 2020 and 2021 and went more closer to what they've done in the most recent past. And so all of that gets me down to like right in the middle of the hold range, unfortunately.
Yep.
So in my mind, I think it's one of these that it looks like a good company, but is just expensive at the moment.
Yep.
My buy was only up to, and I guess the other thing I should mention is, yeah, I judged down growth rates to 20, and then using preferred procedure, got earnings per share growth of like 18.8. So I'm almost reversed, I think, of what you had, Sriram. But where we deviated a lot more, and I was closer to what Jack did, was took a more cynical approach, I think, on the second page, where my buy was only up to $94.
Wow. Okay.
So I think, in my mind, in a nutshell, I think it's maybe a watch list item,
Yeah.
but I think too expensive for my taste at the moment to go into. But looked to be like a promising company, small, like we were looking for, and everything. So it checks a lot of the boxes. Just the price one is a little concerning.
Understood. Cool.
One of our attendees makes a note. When I did PLMR, I did adjust the PE ratios because the trend is down and some of the early PEs were very high.
Yep.
Yep.
Good point.
Sriram, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Can you please display the value and return on the SSG? And then you had the 10-year version of it.
Yep.
So from 2015 to 2018, it doesn't have the high and low price for those years. I was just surprised, I guess, that it has the earnings per share, but then it doesn't have the high and low.
Yeah.
It probably
Is
wasn't
that
trading.
That means it was not a public company
Yeah.
in those years, but when they went public, they usually provide 3 years of history. That's relatively typical.
Oh wow, okay, so that's what happened then. All right.
Rob,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Essentially,
well, I mean, that's exactly right. There's the 3 years of history, the 18 to 16. That's
yeah.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
I mean, I tortured this thing so it came into the buy zone, but let me just read off what I have here. I mean, I had obviously this is way out in left field here, but I put in their average high PE as a 91, and I got a high price of 475.
Wow.
So I guess I way over raw the company, and I put that in because their average 5-year PE was 91.
Yeah.
And then for the other thing that was the big thing was the low price, and then for that I put in a PE of 20, and that got me a low price of 89.6. So I mean, this thing for me is in it's a 5.6 to 1 upside down ratio. So this is really a big buy.
Yep.
But after hearing Brent and Jack analysis, which much more sanguine than mine, I think that yeah,
Yep.
I think what this thing has going for it is there's a massive fear thing where we have had these giant fires in California, so people are actually going to buy the insurance.
Yep.
Instead of, oh, well, it won't happen to me. Well, yeah, my next door neighbor just got smoked, so time to buy the insurance. So I think that is they're going to do phenomenal that way. And I think that's probably why during this drawdown, they did so well.
Yep.
Right, because they know people are going to buy this insurance. So I think that's very, very positive for us, in my opinion.
Yeah. Again,
That's
I'm looking from a perspective of a small business that has the potential to grow. And again, my thinking is I'm not going to keep this for 20 years. I'm going to keep it for 3-4 years and see how we'll do and make profit. Yeah, no, I think that's all good. Who else? Jessica.
My SSG looked, I think, it sounds like it was similar to others. Like it's currently in my hold zone.
Yep.
I too judged the PE a bit, but I thought it was a good company overall. It was just in my hold.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Thanks. Randall, you're next in line.
Still kind of getting my feet wet on this, but yeah, looking at my analysis is kind of a hold, especially with the things that are kind of pointed out. And for me, in this current market, I only want to go for like really, really strong stuff. Now, it might be the novice in me, but that's just kind of my take on it.
Good point. Yep. Thanks. Hey, John. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I kind of like this stock. There are a couple of things I didn't like about it. I don't particularly like the risk with hurricanes and marine issues and or crop issues.
Yep.
I didn't like the valuation on the SSG. It's overvalued presently.
Yep.
But on the good side, it did come in my buy range. You used historical sales of 18 and a half
Yep.
and earnings per share of 20. I used 16 and 12.
Okay.
Your high price was 390. Mine was 253. Your low was 112. Mine was 115. So it's in my buy range, but it doesn't grab me and say invest now. I think they're either going to make a lot of money because of the business they're in, high risk, or they're going to lose a lot of money.
Yep. No, that's a good point.
I'm impressed with their previous sales of the trailing 12 months of 47%
Yep.
and the increase in the earnings of 26% increase. So I'm impressed with that.
Yep.
So if you want to gamble, I think it's a good stock. If you want to play safe, it may not be.
Yep. Completely agree. Yeah, excellent. That's my caveat on my recommendation is if you are willing to take the risk, I think it has a potential as a small business.
Otherwise, I like its track record on price per share over the past 2 years. It's done very well.
Yep. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments? Back to you, Jack.
Okay, let's move on to the update and review of stocks. Sriram, why don't you show the
Yep.
PERT or something?
I will do that. Bear with me for 1 second.
And let's see.
Yep. I think.
Brent, Tractor Supply and ACMR.
Yeah, it'll be very fast because I couldn't find much news. The news channels, at least for these two companies, was just flooded with other noise from tariffs. And to be
Yeah, there
honest,
seems to be a lot of noise going on.
yeah, I can't predict how things will fall out. But the one thing of note for Tractor Supply was their first quarter results will release on April 24th. So that's in about less than 2 weeks' time. We may see some effect from folks purchasing chickens and chicken coops and that whole thing from the egg price crisis. So that might help bolster their first quarter results a little bit. Time will tell. So I'll have a better report next time we meet on that. I currently have Tractor Supply in the buy range just because I think the price is a little bit depressed from their previous quarter results. I don't think I would advise investing in them just because there's been some rocky past, and I want to see how the next quarter or this current quarter results pan out. And then for ACMR, like absolutely no news. This is kind of a head scratcher, right? Because they're based in the US, but they have a lot of ties to China. They're also semiconductor related. I cannot tell you where the dust will settle with regards to tariffs on that. So the outlook generally is good for this, but that could change, with the next announcement from the White House. So I don't have a lot of good information on either of these at the moment. So probably worth just staying the course on these two for the time being. And maybe that's going to be a common theme for the other holdings in our portfolio. But not much to report on ACMR, unfortunately.
Okay.
Before we head off, I forgot to mention I have to head out early today. So I'll be hanging up here in a few minutes. I'm a fan of doing whatever the team wants to do, maybe just increasing investment in one of our smaller holdings. But whatever you guys decide, I'm okay with.
Thanks, Brent. Steve?
Yep. So Alphabet I've got in the buy zone. This is with the most current drawdown. This is one of the biggest buy signals I've seen. It's a $55 undervalue here. I have a buy up to 214, and it's currently at 159. So very, very strong on Alphabet right now on the buy. There was, the news is not good, right? I mean, it's dour. So and it's affecting everything. Everything is affected. So that's kind of, for my three stocks, that's kind of what it is. So for Visa, Visa shockingly is in the hold range and has held well. I have a buy up to 312 and it's at 333. So this thing has Visa. DHI, I have shockingly in the buy zone. It actually weathered okay. So they're not going to be affected by the tariffs other than what they're importing to install. So and I don't think Visa is going to have a huge impact. I don't know about Alphabet. It's the supply chain is going to get affected, and it's very hard to tell. Google just had a layoff. They laid off their chunk of their phone division. So maybe they're thinking that their phones aren't going to sell. I don't know, but it's kind of like the dour mood on mine. So that's what I've got. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Steve. Monster is in all this chaos is actually higher than it was last month. It's kind of on day to day. It looks like people have gone to consumer staples sort of things, including Monster, to get away from other issues. But there was the only bit of news was bad news, that a short seller said that this was that Monster had a bunch of issues with supply lines and some other things. But the problem with short sellers is that they've got an agenda, and it's not clear that actually got any traction. but there were half a dozen articles about the short sellers and the reaction to them, to their report. There was no news from the company because they're reporting, I think, next week. Let's find the date here. At the end of the month, actually, 4/30. They're monsters in the hold zone for me. Netflix, not a lot of news. Wedbush, which is a brokerage, I think, said that Netflix has created a virtually insurmountable lead in the streaming wars and can now focus on revenue growth. So they think that the price hikes and the ad version of their platform are going to lead the way in giving them more revenue and more money. They're also in the hold zone, though. They are up a little bit from last month, again, remarkably. NMIH is a small company. They're actually down a few percent from last month. They're in the buy. And there, as usual for them, there's no news. So that's it for my stocks. Sriram?
Yes. The three I'm watching are Houlihan and Loki, Qualys, and SEIC. All three of them, they had their quarterly calls, I think late December, early January. Since then, no update. So we will have an update end of this month, all three of them. There is no major updates. I think I did not see any value lines on changes or anything like that. So we are waiting for updates, but overall, all three of them, like I said, actually SEIC is doing a little better than what they were doing before. And then Houlihan Loki is also doing, actually they've done very well in the last few months. And then Qualys, again, we are still getting that information. I think they had a delayed, I think February update on theirs. So yes, we have all this, nothing major to report, nothing to update. So
Are any of the buys today?
yes, I think all 2 out of 3 of them are in buy. Let me show you. I think this will be a good place to look. Yes, Houlihan Loki is in hold. Qualys is buy and SEIC is buy.
Okay.
Jessica?
Yeah. Pfizer, their price has been down. Trump announced plans for a pharmaceutical product tariff to be relayed at some point soon. The rumors that are online are about 25% on products manufactured in Europe. Morningstar had a little blurb that they weren't adjusting their fair value estimates on any of the biopharm companies just because they believed that there would be limited impact of the tariffs on their company earnings. But anyway, it seems like all the pharmaceutical companies' stock prices have been down. I think Pfizer's currently at like a 10-year low. They're continuing to work on cost-cutting strategies. They closed one of their research facilities, or they're transferring one of their research facilities in San Diego. They have a quarterly call at the end of the month, which should provide more information. They're currently in my buy zone. EXLS, I don't really have any new information. They're expected to do their quarterly call in the next month. And then SLP had a very good Friday. Thursday, the FDA announced plans to replace animal testing for development of drugs and monoclonal antibody therapies in favor of AI-based computational models, which is what SLP has as part of their preclinical trial work. So they were up by about 24% yesterday. I currently have them in my hold zone. That is it for me.
Randall.
Good morning. I have ISC. Not a lot of news or anything like that. They, for the past month, they've kind of maintained water. They kind of dipped down, and now they're kind of back to kind of where they were a month ago. I used some conservative numbers in the SSG. I like halved the sales and the EPS, and it's still in the buy zone. So they're going to have their earnings, I think, in late April or May, I think. They had their last one, and I think it was February. They're still experiencing a lot of overall growth. And yeah, still in the buy.
And the watch list are all holds except for Axe. Axe is, I think, at or near the buy. So I think we're at the part, lost my place here. We're at the part where we have to decide on what we're going to buy or sell or whatever. So the floor is open for suggestions, promotions.
Yes, I think if you look at our portfolio, NMI holdings is only at 1.9%, and IESC is at 0.6%. We certainly can add in those two areas. But I like the idea of buying Alphabet at a cheaper rate and see if we can. I'm sorry, can I grab the screen and show my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you see it or no?
Just a second.
Yeah, I think you may have to stop
There
sharing.
you go.
There you go. Yep. Excellent. Yeah, now you can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, I think as you can see, Alphabet is about 9% of our portfolio. Excel services is 10%. So is Netflix.
Yeah.
And the ones that are low are the SLP, certainly IEA, SC, as well as NMI. So we have about
We have 2.9% of cash.
Yeah, 3% in cash.
Yeah. And so we need to add 1.1% in cash to NMIH to make it 3%. And
Yes.
2.6%. So we don't have quite enough to do that, but we can get close.
Yep.
So I suggest we put in 1% of the, basically a third of the cash, more or less, to buy NMIH and use the rest for IESC. That'll bring it close to 3%, maybe not quite 3%.
Yep.
That sound good?
Yeah. One quick point. Where is NMIH today?
Say that again.
Yeah, yeah. NMIH is at 33.94,
Yeah.
a little more than what we bought last time, but I think that's good. This one is at 179, a little more than what we bought it. Okay. Yes, I like that. Anybody have any suggestions or any
I
discussion?
like Jack's idea. I second Jack's idea.
I do
Excellent.
too. Are we adding the PLMR to the watch list?
Yes.
Or, okay.
And I apologize for the watch list. I didn't realize I had to put like what the current buy range or whatever is. I will send that a little
No,
later for Adobe.
no worries. I think we can track it using our portfolio part. Don't worry.
Okay.
Can someone repeat to me how many shares we're buying of each of these two stocks?
I was saying the amount of cash we have. So there's 2.9% of cash, and we should take a third of that and buy NMIH, and the rest by IESC. So that ends up being about $2,000, give or take a third of it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, one person comes to $2,212.
Okay.
And so in order to add 1%, we can buy divided by about 65 shares of NMI holdings. Okay. And then about 24 shares of IES holdings.
Thank you.
Great. And things might change a little bit on Monday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God knows things have been a little volatile lately.
I don't know. See, this is always, I'm in a dilemma. I'm going to put a market purchase. If it goes up, goes up, goes down, goes down.
Yeah.
Because I always wait for the limit order.
Yeah,
But
and you start chasing it after a while.
yeah, and after that it becomes just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
I'm in agreement.
Excellent.
Now back to you, Jack.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So I've not quite taken Liz off of Vivio because I haven't heard from her yet, but I've sent her an email. I'll give her a call just to make sure that she's got it before I take her off completely.
Yeah, the next three items all in my court, Jack.
Yeah.
I did not send you anything. Just I've been traveling last couple of weeks. Just
Yeah.
I will add John to the list and send you the form for fidelity, and then we'll get moving on it. And just
Great.
I called them about a month or so ago before our last meeting. They basically said that we cannot do anything electronically. You have to send a paper.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what it is. So I will take care of the next three. Congratulations, John.
Welcome, John.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
I hope
And,
I can add just a little.
do we
Yes.
have any new business to discuss?
Only question I have is I hope everybody was able to download their K1 forms and taken care of your tax.
Um, yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got a couple of days. Next month, Mo Hart is going to present. Is she on the call today?
No,
Oh dear. So I'll send her an email, making sure that she's ready to go.
I think she said she will not be on this call. If
Yeah,
you
I
remember.
think you're right. I think she did say that.
But we need to follow up with her and
Yep.
make sure.
And I'm doing the education segment. I've got the schedule, I think, through November, and we have a rolling list now of 7 people, and I think everybody's scheduled to do something just about by November. One or the other thing for both. Yeah. So good. Next meeting is Saturday, May 10th. And we need to, before we end, we need to open the floor for questions from the
Attendees.
floor. Yeah, questions from the attendees. I think, well, there's a couple of questions there.
I think Joe is unmuting everybody from the
Okay.
alphabetically from.
I started at the top. Sriram,
Yep.
can you start at the bottom and do the same?
Yep.
Okay. I've unmuted the Aiden, Audrey, Bill, Bo, Christian, and Chuck so far. So if any of y'all need to say something, you're welcome to do so.
Bill Hawkins, do you have a question?
Ira, I just got you.
Hi, Ira.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adon. This is my first time jumping in this meeting. Actually, just currently signed up for the membership, but just had a question in regards of: do you guys also invest in stock options?
No.
We
You
have
guys
thought
no.
about doing calls, but we haven't done it.
Okay, got it, got it. Yeah, that was my only question. Thank you.
Every calls. Yeah, we have not pulled the trigger on that.
The
Yeah.
software the club uses will support option trading. They just have not made that decision. I am in another club that's done a few over the years. It's just not very active.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you for that.
There are a couple of very good presentations. I think one on the online chapter website regarding the stock options. Yeah.
Yeah, Ira did a presentation here
Yes.
a couple of years ago or a year ago.
Ira,
Calls.
you turned your mic on?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm glad to see that the club is doing very well. And on a personal note, when the market spiked the other day, I was able to sell Nike because they have a big exposure to Vietnam, and who knows what's going to happen with that. And if you get me off of Fidelity, the happier we'll all be.
Okay.
Yep, I'm working on it.
We're working on it.
Yeah. And
Pooja?
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. This is my first call, and I'm new to Better Investing. I joined like maybe 2 months ago, and since then I've been like reading and going through all the videos, etc. So there's a ton of knowledge there, and it's very interesting. I like this meeting as well. Um, I guess I'm looking at this slide, and I would have to reach out to Jessica for some questions around membership, etc. So I'd be curious to know more about it. I just had one suggestion and observation on your portfolio. Like, do you look at from the perspective of the economic outlook as well? Because, I mean, a lot of the news that is being around is that there could be a recession, if not a recession, slow growth between 25 and 26. So like if you would want to include maybe some large value companies, Alphabet was one of them. But then there could be some more extra dividend yield that you could include in your portfolio. That's just my observation, but you guys are doing great.
Please contact Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pusha. Um,
Nobody else has turned their microphone on, so I don't guess anybody
Yeah.
else wants to talk.
Just wanted to say it's a lot
Matt?
easier to attend this from Florida than it is from Hawaii.
Yes, it would be.
Thank you. I learned some things again today. Just listening to y'all. Thank you.
Great.
Good to talk
Oh,
with you,
sorry,
Matt.
can I just add one thing? The AI thing was very helpful because the other day I was on that Ticker Talk call, and they also talked about learning how to use AI, but the cues that were given here were far better. So probably you should share those cues with the larger team. Like
No, we're going to
these
keep them
were.
to ourselves. Steve's ours.
No, I'm serious about it. Yeah, it was really good. I was like the ones that they said shared there
Yeah.
were more from the starting standpoint, I believe, but
Yeah.
this was more advanced. And the cues that you gave on, actually, I tried them out here right now while you were talking.
Oh, good.
So it was super helpful.
Yeah, I think Steve knows what he's doing, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I have one administrative thing to note. If you look at the handouts at the bottom of the page, it's always been we could only put in 5 handouts.
Yeah.
I noticed when we had my model club meeting that they jumped that from 5 to 15.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
if it becomes necessary, we do have more room for handouts in the
Oh, good.
future.
About time. And thank you for putting the both files. Yeah.
Okay.
This is Randall. I have a question. I'm looking at the app, the GoToWebinar app, and I can only see the panelists. I can't see the guests. Is that normal?
Let me look a second here. Randall, I left you as a panelist because we have not talked about an organizer's extra risk. You and John. I can do that now if that's okay. There's only one thing to worry about. When you leave, if you're a panelist, you can only leave. If you're an organizer, you can also shut the whole thing down. And we want you to be especially careful that you do not shut it down. Okay, I'll do both of you so that you can see what you add by being an organizer.
No, that's okay.
That's our greatest risk.
Just make me the money. Well, I don't need to see everybody. I'm good.
Okay.
You should be able to see the attendees now.
Okay, it's
a list right next to the.
It's right above where your name is. It says staff and attendees. If you click attendees, you can see who's still here.
Okay.
It's just when you punch that red button up at the top where it says go to webinar control panel, It
Mhm.
gives you three choices. Be sure you do not push the one that says shut it down.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for attending. Next meeting is May 10th.
Excellent.
If you found this meeting helpful, please tell your friends about us. You can find us on YouTube by searching for Yankee Model Investment Club. Please register for future meetings. What else? If you have questions or are interested in joining, please contact Jessica at this address. Okay. Anything else? Are we done?
Yep.
I think
Thanks.
so.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a good month.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to end the webinar.